Hi, I'm Cami Lee, and welcome to my kitchen, and we are cooking during a pandemic. Tonight, we are making pasta noodle bake, and that is because I have yogurt and cream cheese and don't want either to go bad. So, in the spirit of making do with what you've got, this recipe is actually not mine. It is borrowed from a great website called Jenny Can Cook, and she's got great recipes, but I've had to tweak it because I don't have ricotta, which is what it calls for, but I do have yogurt and I do have cream cheese. So I'm sort of tweaking it and making my own. So Cami can cook. Now, I've got some hot water boiling here for the pasta. This is 2.5 cups of dry pasta. I'm using penne. She used what is it called? Ziti, but I don't have ziti. And I'm going to bake that according to the directions. Probably, I think it's about 10 minutes, 11 minutes. So I'll set my timer for 10 minutes and I'll just check it then and make adjustments as I go along. The oven is heated for 375, or rather at 375, and I'm going to start sauteing my onions and garlic. I've got about 3/4 of a cup of chopped onion here. Now, before I put it in the pan, I'm going to add some butter, because everything is better with butter, and I'll add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil with that. Now, here's my oil over here. Adding a bit of oil to it gives it flavor, but also keeps the butter from burning. And I'm going to add, gotta keep stirring the pasta. Yeah, so about, I don't know, 3/4 of a cup of chopped onion. I'm not going to put this container in the sink. I'm going to put my leftover pasta in here later because I'm not a huge fan of washing every single utensil that I own when I cook. I like to make my dishes do double duty. So this is really going. And there's also a little bit of garlic that I'm going to add, and I will say about this much. So what is that? 1/4 teaspoon. I get my garlic already chopped up in a jar. You can use fresh. If you use fresh, that would be 1 clove. But this keeps a lot longer than fresh garlic, which is why I have it on hand always. I've used up all my fresh garlic. Now, the onions are going. I will give that a bit of a stir. This bowl I don't need. Now, I will season my onions with some pepper and some salt. I've got 1 big jar of pasta sauce, and I'm using Classico tomato basil, which is my favorite that they do. And if you're ever low on time, this and pasta is amazing with just a sprinkling of cheese. Like, really, it doesn't get any easier than that. So I'm just adding extra flavors to sauces that already work really well on their own. And while that's going, I will explain my replacement for ricotta cheese. So here it is here. Recipe calls for 1 cup of ricotta cheese. I don't have that. I had yogurt and this herbed cream cheese, which smells amazing. So I just did half and half, and it was a little bit thick, so I added some water to it, and this is my ricotta replacement, which consistency is really close to ricotta, right? Now we are cooking real time here, making mistakes as we go. I forgot to put on my apron, which is really important because once the tomato sauce gets going, there's going to be a lot of splatters, I'm sure. Yep, one onion just popped out. Nice. And the drink of the evening, lemon iced tea. Red rose tea with a little bit of honey and lemon. Refreshing. Okay, so the onions are looking a little brown, a little burnt. Whoa. I don't want them to get burnt, so I'm turning down the heat a little bit. And to this, I will add my jarred sauce. So this is 1 jar of the Classico tomato basil. Yes, am I ever glad I put on my apron? This is really splattering. I wish I had a lid. I don't. Anyway, I will add just a little bit of extra sauce. So this is from another jarred sauce. Just a 1/4 cup. And to get everything out of my jarred sauce, I'm just going to add a little extra water to that. Shake it up so nothing goes to waste. Plus, I love these jars. I am a big fan of Classico jars. They're like mason jars. And I will wash that and use that for something else later. To the sauce, I will add my own seasonings. So I've got almost a 1/4 teaspoon of chili flake and some dried oregano. That goes in there. And just give this a stir. And this, no more than 10 minutes. No more than 10 minutes. So I would like to set my alarm for no more than 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Got my phone here. Let's see. Actually, this is Brent's phone. Where is your clock? Timer. Where's the timer? Okay. And this goes for no more, let's say no more than 9 minutes. Okay. It's counting down. So I've turned this down to a low simmer. And yeah, that looks good. You don't want your pasta to stick to the bottom, so you gotta stir it every once in a while. Now this pasta water, I'm going to save a little bit of that later in case my sauce gets a little too thick or I feel like I don't have enough sauce at the end, which can happen. Anyway, sometimes I reserve pasta water and I use it, and sometimes I reserve pasta water and I don't use it. But so what, right? It's always good to have it there and not need it than need it and it not be there. You know what I mean? Okay, so while we're waiting for that to cook up, I will show you the cheeses that I have. I've got a cup of grated mozzarella and I've divided it into 3 little piles because I'm going to layer this pasta kind of like a lasagna. So just to make it even, I've separated it into 3 piles, and I've got 6 teaspoons of Parmesan cheese here, and this is just the store-bought Kraft grated Parmesan cheese, and I've got a few leaves of basil from our balcony garden. And it's really nice, the basil plant. We've got 2 actually, and they're doing quite well. This has a couple of more minutes on it. just give that sauce a stir. You don't want to cook it down too much. You want to keep the sauce kind of watery. Speaking of watery, I think I might add a little bit more. I'm going to try one and see if it's done. Now what you really should be doing is reading the package directions, right? Which I didn't. So I know this kind of pasta is usually anywhere from 9 to 12 minutes. Yeah, one more minute actually, and it's done. One more minute. So after it dings, I'll let it go for one more minute. Now the other ding that you heard, that was the oven. I set the oven for 375. So one more minute here. And you know, it is going to bake in the oven. So you just want to do this until it's al dente anyway. I'm getting my pan ready here. This is the pan I'm going to bake in. You could use any casserole dish, a 3-quart baking dish. I use this pan because it can go in the oven as well. It's amazing, I love it. And it's really deep, so in case things bubble around or whatever, it's really high on the sides, so you can really layer it up. Now, this looks great. I'm going to get a cup ready to take some pasta water in a second. So in case you're wondering, behind me, yes, this is my kitchen, and it's a rather messy kitchen, but you see on the refrigerator, all the bits of paper, just in case you're wondering, they're all recipes. Recipes that I've collected over the years. Some people collect stamps or coins. I collect recipes. And not that I used them, I just collected them. But now, during a pandemic, I've been using them. And some of them are pretty good. So let's check one more time here. I don't want to overdo it, but I don't want to underdo it. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect. So I've got my strainer over here, but I'm going to grab just a little bit of pasta water, just a little bit here. That's good. Drain that out. And now I'm going to put this back into the pan. So yeah, I think I'm going to add a little bit of that pasta water there. So now goes the yogurt and cream cheese mixture that I pre-mixed and added a little bit of water to it so it could have the consistency of a ricotta. So I'm just going to mix this around here. And this is going to be a really cheesy pasta. Oh my God, that smells really good already. And that's the cream cheese. Oh man. You can make this more, what can I say, healthier, heart healthy, by using like low-fat ricotta, low-fat cream cheese, zero-fat yogurt, which I did, by the way. So this ends up being quite healthy. Now, that's ready. My sauce has just a couple of more minutes on it. But it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. God, I love the store-bought sauces, you know? Why go through all that trouble when you can just get it out of a jar? Now, I need a spoon. Okay. going to get ready for assembly here. Kind of clean my kitchen up a little bit as I go. Garlic. This is exciting. Very exciting. I'm excited. Oh my God. Okay, so while we're waiting for the sauce, for the 10 minutes, I've got my basil leaves here and I'm just going to roll them up. A technique called chiffonading your herbs. This is so you don't bruise them. And there you go. And that will be for the topping later, the very end. Not a lot of basil, but you know, that's all I could take because our plant is very young and I don't want to kill it. Okay, I'm kind of impatient, so let's start. The alarm will go off, but I'm sure this is fine. So you want to spoon a little bit of the sauce. Let's say just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Now to this, I'm going to thin it out a little bit with the pasta water because I want to make sure I have enough sauce. Now, the sauce that you put on the bottom is really just to cover the surface area. So it's not completely dry, but it does need a little bit more. So there you go. To this, I will add a third of the pasta. So what is a third? Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, a third. Just a little bit of this, right? And you're going to cover the bottom of the pan. That's about a third, I think. I'm just eyeballing it here. And it's not meant to cover every single part of the pan. That looks good, doesn't it? Now, to this, I will add one pile of the mozzarella. One pile of the mozzarella. There you go. And 2 teaspoons of the Parmesan cheese. That was 1, and that's 2. And I'm going to repeat everything 2 more times. And I've got my basil. And let's pop it in the oven now for 20 minutes at 375. There we go. So I said 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes. There we go. Now, I had extra sauce, I noticed, so I put that on top of the cheese, but you could just put more cheese on top and then the top is really cheesy and bubbly, which I probably should have done. But I had all this extra sauce. So anyway, whatever. It's all good, right? It's all going into the same place. This is real cooking, real life. But we'll see how it goes. So the pasta is baking and we are just cleaning up. So in the time that I was waiting, yes, I washed all of my dishes and got my plates ready. And full disclosure here, folks, this is the first time that I've made pasta noodle bake. And why did I make it? Because I have yogurt and cream cheese that I don't want to go bad. And I had jar sauce, like I'm sure many of you do as well, and dry pasta. And this is about cooking with what you've got. So if you're missing an ingredient, it's not like, you know, we can run out and get it, especially when I'm only going out like once every 3 weeks to buy stuff. Now, with that in mind, I hope it works out. I'm really hoping it works out. I mean, what can go wrong, right? But anyway, we'll see. But that's what this show is about, is what I'm saying. You know, you're just trying to use what you got so things don't go bad. And it's really creative. And planning these meals day by day, it's been a really great distraction amidst this time of COVID-19 crisis where you can't do this and you can't do that and you're scared of this and scared of that. It's been a nice outlet and, like I said, distraction. It's got a few minutes left. I'm going to get my spoon ready. Here, I really hope this turns out. That was the extra cheese, which is great. Will go on. There's my washed jar. I love those jars. And we're waiting. Oh, 20 more seconds. Oh my goodness. I hope it's good, eh, babe? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and bingo. Okay. Oh, and of course you guys wouldn't know this, but Brent and I do these videos in just one take. That's why sometimes it's a little bit loud. It's a little bit like, oh, you should use the rubber spatula rather than the steel spoon to scrape the stuff off the pan, right? But anyway, we're doing our best, like everyone is. Now, wow, look at that. Oh my God. Cheesy goodness. It is bubbling, it is cheesy, and I'm curious, so I'm going to cut into it, or scoop into it. Where will I go? I'll go right here. Oh, look at that, you guys. Wow. Plates are ready. Okay, I'm going to put it right here. Wow. Oh my God, it's cheesy. So had I put the cheese on top, it would have had that nice cheesy bubbly look, but I mean, all the ingredients are there. It's all gonna taste good. Now to the top, I will put some of that extra Parmesan cheese. And when we have more basil or parsley, I would put that on top, but for now, cheesy pasta noodle bake. Bon appetit.